Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Zeal for Python by RB. Today we will discuss more about functions. But before that, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe, like and share with your friends and family. In Python, we have a function called anonymous function, Lambda. Lambda function is called anonymous as it is not defined by def statement. We just use a keyword lambda to create one small inline function during the execution of the code. For example, if you have to check a functionality while writing a code, you can use this lambda function, which is small inline and without doing a much of typing. Instead of using a def statement and creating a function and then calling it again in your code, Lambda function gives you the facility to reduce your typing work and more efficiently work on your code. Syntax for the anonymous function is variable name, lambda, arguments. Arguments are the values which you will pass to the lambda function for your functionality. And the expressions, under expressions comes the code which you have to check or the functionality or your functionality. For example, here multi equal to lambda a comma b. Lambda is our keyword. A comma b are the arguments. This shows that there will be the two arguments in the function and a into b. This tells that this expression will multiply both the arguments and return its value. This value will be returned in multi. So when you call a multi function and pass arguments to it, it will give you the result. For example, let us see if you have to check which is the bigger number. I will write a function lambda which will take two values, which is I and j. Then these two values, the processing part will be done under the expression I. If I is greater than j, else j. What this statement tells is if I is greater than j, means if I is greater than j, you return I, else you return j. Now, when I will call this function, what it will do, it will give me the bigger number. I hope this is clear. Now, we have few more functions in Python which we called as built-in functions. These are the tools, these built-in functions are the tools which can be used for functioning. For example, map, filter, reduce, zip. Now, one by one, let us learn about all these functions and let us get familiar with them, that how they can be used for functioning. Map. What map function does is it applies the function passed to it to the iterable object mentioned and returns the iterator. When you see the syntax, what happens here is map function iterator. What happens in map is whichever the function is passed as a parameter, this function, for this function, the elements of the iterator will behave as a argument, and you will get the iterator itself or an object itself as the result of map function. Let us see with the help of example. See here, example. Here what is happening, we are applying a function, lambda function. What this lambda function is doing here is, it adds 10 to whichever the argument is passed to it. Now, We have for map function, we have two parameters, lambda function and the list which has 5 elements. Now this lambda function will be applied to each and every element of this particular list. Let us see here, map. This lambda function will add 10 to whatever the argument will be passed to it. Whichever number you will pass to lambda, it will add 10 to it. This is our function. Okay, this is our function which we are passing to map. Then comes our iterator. Iterator here we will take list. Okay, sorry, MB. So now as you can see, this lambda function is applied to each and every element of this list. You can consider it in another way as that the elements of the list will become argument for lambda and map will give you the list. Another way for writing this particular example is shown in example 2. Here what we have done, we have used lambda as a function to add 10 to all the elements. Another way is you can write a function which will add 10 to the to a particular number, and then you can use map on it. See here what I have done is add 10 function is defined using def statement which will return the sum of argument which will be passed to it and 10 plus 10. Then that function add 10 is passed as a parameter to map and an iterator is passed. Now this, whenever this statement will be executed, what will happen? Add will be called here. Add will, whenever the Python will encounter add 10, it will call the add function. It will take the elements of list as an argument and it will return the sum in the form of list. I hope it is clear. Now let us see another function which is called as reduce function. Reduce. What we can understand with the help of reduce is that it will short or reduce the iterator. Okay, it will give us a single value. Reduce function takes two parameters, function and an iterable, but it will return only a single value after processing the function on the given iterable. The reduce function belongs to functools module. Uh, when we called map earlier here, what we did, we just wrote map and we passed the parameter. But this reduce function, it belongs to a module which is called as functools. So in order to use a function which belongs to another module, what we have to do is we have to import that particular module first and then use the function from it. Let's see the example of reduce function. Here we have a function called prod which will take arbitrary number of arguments and multiply it and return the result. So now here I am calling a functools module as fn. I'm giving it an alias fn. Whenever we call a module, use a function from a module, we have to use a function name, module name dot that particular function, module name dot particular function which we are using. But when we use alias like as fn, instead of writing functools dot reduce again and again, we can just use a short form fn dot reduce. This will be covered in the coming videos in modules. Fn dot reduce prod. Now, what this prod will do? It will multiply each and all the elements of the list, and it will give only a single number as a result. Let's see here. This is my prod function, and now when I will use this prod with my reduce statement, I will get the reduced value of the list. Just a minute. Now if you can see, I'm importing my func tools fn and applying this particular function prod on my list which has elements 1, 2, 3, 4. And now if you can see, I have its output as a single value. So this is what we call as a reduce function. Then we have another function which we call as filter function. Filter function applies the function to the iterables and return the filtered function in conjunction to the given function. Now what does this mean? See, many times we have a particular requirement. We have a large number of numbers, or we have a range of numbers. From them, we have few conditions which we have to apply and sort, or different take out filter the different numbers, so or numbers or data. So for that we can use a filter. Whatever your requirement is, that requirement is written in your function, and that function will be applied to the large number of range of your numbers or your iterable, and it will filter the values which you require. If you see in the first example, we are applying here a lambda function which chooses the negative number, or you can say the numbers which are less than 0. This particular condition will be applied on the list of numbers which have both positive and negative numbers, and you will get the value, which is this particular filter function give the value which is less than 0. Another example here, we have a lambda function which sorts the list, or which filters the even number from the given list. Let's see here. Suppose I have a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, minus 4, minus 6, minus 5. Now what will this do? It will filter the values. It will filter according what the function requires. Then again, we have an option where we can filter the values of this with the help this list for even numbers. Now if you can see here, this lambda function will filter all the even numbers from the given list. You can also apply this particular function on a range. Instead of using list, we can use a range function, a range, which will give you all the even numbers with from 1 to 100. Now, if you can see the list of all the numbers 0 to 4, which are even numbers, you can get with the help of filter statement. I hope it is clear now. So let's move to another function, which we called as a zip function. What zip function does, it takes the iterable and returns the tuple. Suppose you have two lists, list 1 and list 2. It will zip, it will combine the elements on same indexes and it will return tuple of it. Okay. If you pass nothing, if you pass no parameter to zip, it will return an empty tuple. One thing to be noted here, that only same indexes are zipped together. Now what does this mean? Let us see with the help of example. Here we have list 1 and list 2. Both the lists have same number of elements, or you can say the index of list 1 and list 2 is same. Okay, now we will apply a zip statement on it, a zip function on it. See, L1, L2, zip, whatever is zipped, we are taking it into a variable result. Now, one thing to be noted, that it is an object. Okay, it will return an object. So, in order to have a good visualization, we use it, we convert this list into a result into a list, and then we print that list. See, this tuple 1 one 2 two, the elements on the same number of indexes are zipped together in one tuple. What will happen? What will happen when you zip two lists of different length? Let's see that. Suppose I have now two lists with different indexes. Means one is the bigger one and the another is a smaller one. See here, this has index length of this is 6 and length of this is 8. Now when you zip this, you get the zipped elements only for the one which is the shorter list or the shorter iterable. The others are left behind. No, they are not used. Okay. If you have to unzip the list, if you want the list into the form which was originally L1 and L2, what you can do is use two different variables and use zip function and a star mark on the result list. Then print S and print V. Now you can see the both the lists are unzipped. I hope the functions, built-in functions are clear. So thank you. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel.